It is extremely important. The why is oftentimes we're part of the problem. When we talk about intimate partner violence, CDC data says it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 41 to 44% of Black men are responsible for what happens. So if you are part of the problem, you definitely need to be part of the solution. More importantly, when we're talking about building strong communities, it starts in the home. There's the famous quote, the ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people. So also should the success of the nation begin in the homes of its people. So when we talk about building resilient families, we have to provide psychological safety. And so that becomes paramount when you're talking about ending domestic violence, ending intimate partner violence. You have to be safe. You have to feel safe. So if you can create a safe space in the home, other things begin to flourish, whether you're in the workplace, the school, wherever you move as a Black girl or a Black woman. If you can leave a safe space, chances are your success out in the world is going to triple and double and triple, I should say. It hasn't. I was raised by a Black woman. So my first teacher, leader, speaker, healer, spiritual advisor was a Black woman. That's what I grew up with. So I've always believed in affirming, supporting, caring for, nurturing, whatever I could do to ensure the safety and support of Black women. So, I come from a long lineage of Black women. So whether it's my mother, my aunts, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my sisters, my whole life is full of Black women. So I would be foolish not to be an advocate for and supporter of Black women, even those that I don't know who are in my community. I remember going to school, there was a Black woman across the street, the elder sister, who would always ask, okay, we're going to learn something today, right? And so when I went to school, I thought about her and I was like, you know what? She doesn't know me, but I'm sure I remind her of a son, of a nephew, whatever the case may be. But I carried her with me. So absolutely, my position will forevermore be to support and affirm the safety and protection of Black women and girls. I think the first thing I need to hear is that it's not about being online talking about I'm an alpha man. What I've learned is if you got to tell people that's what you are, chances are that's not who you are. What we need to learn is what are Black women saying? What's important to them? What's going on in their life? I know many Black women who know about prostate cancer, but I can't say as many Black women or Black men know about the health risks that Black women face. So I think we should become experts on what's going on with them, both from a physical standpoint, spiritual standpoint, and psychological standpoint. So it's important that Black boys, they should read literature by and about Black women. But I think we should be able to say, okay, what's the last 5 books you read by Black women? What's something that had a lasting impact on you? And if you're not into reading, did you get an audiobook? Right? I mean, we should become experts on what's going on with them. So many of us have opinions about Black women, but not as many of us are as well read and well researched on what they think. So I think that's something that both boys and men, and however else you want to identify, should be learning about Black women. The first thing we have to deal with is where we are as a community. As I mentioned before, there are challenges with intimate partner violence. So we're in an interesting moment. There's structural racism, there's gender discrimination, there's economic inequality, there's exposure to trauma if this violence is taking place in the home where there are children. And all of that adds up to chronic stress. So part of what we should be doing is building strong social networks, helping to sustain and build culturally affirming care, and then offer each other community support. And I think it's important that we begin to, I shouldn't say begin to, but continue to develop spiritual mechanisms for supporting and sustaining each other. Charity begins at home. Start to learn who you are. If you've got issues, unresolved stuff from your childhood, deal with that first before trying to get in a relationship. And I think we need to understand that there's a different style of leadership, one that's not authoritarian, which is how some of us think the only way that masculinity moves. So, learn words like collaboration. Understand that there is collective work and responsibility, to borrow phrasing from Kwanzaa, that can help us move in relationships so that we can support each other. And I would say, many of us look to the example of, well known Black couples, Barack and Michelle, for example. And I think the mistake we make is we look at the finished product and say, wow, I want that. I want to have that kind of relationship. Yet we're not willing to do the necessary work that got them where they are. So that means being open minded, listening, and not just for your turn to speak, but active listening, really having a moment to engage in reflection and understand that, sometimes the feedback, it might sting, but it might help you become a better man and a better listener. So I think those are the things I would want to leave with other men, boys, older men, whoever it may be. I have taken the pledge to end domestic violence in our community. Have you taken the pledge?